Oh, there you go.
So these are all meeting in the middle.
Hey, Bigfoot here. So here's something which I believe is interesting. So if we look in the foreground here, we see trees and we see birds jumping from tree to tree. So we have a scale. So we see what appears to be, anyway, as far as I can tell, a lake or river. It could be a road, for as far as I know, anyway. But to me, it looks like a lake. And we have what appears to be some kind of footpath here. If this is a footpath, and this is clearly some kind of window edge or window sill or balcony, perhaps, we can surmise that, you know, this path here is the width of maybe one or two people at least. So we can get some general idea of scale, that these are actually trees, fully grown, pretty much fully grown trees, whatever trees they may be. It's not a bush, where somebody might actually say that what's moving in here is or are birds. I'm just going to play this without any stabilization first, so we can get the kind of idea of what's going on. So essentially what we are seeing here is somebody filming. Unfortunately, this person doesn't have knowledge of filming or using the camera very well, like most people these days. Even for me, it would probably be difficult anyway to focus in the background when you have all these foliage, leaves, branches in the foreground. You know, some like phones these days, you can press on the screen and you can actually select the area to focus, where we would prefer the focal point to be in the background instead of the foreground. But in this case, we're unfortunately getting most of the focus in the foreground, as you can see. But my main point showing you this part is just to stress the point that what we're seeing here in this area are not birds on branches in the foreground. And the movement, which I'm going to show you now, the movement of the subject, I believe is like a monkey, but not a monkey. It's certainly not a bear, because bears, from my knowledge, don't swing from tree to tree and jump from tree to tree. Yes, it's blurry, as I mentioned, as I stated in the title and description. It's taken me days to stabilize, and still it's not completely visible, and it's still blotchy. But what I like to do with any kind of footage is to pinpoint inhumane movement and characteristics, which is what I believe we are seeing here. So, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if some of you have basically switched off by this point. So what we're seeing here is something climbing the tree in the foreground, which is larger than your average human, and moving completely inhumanely. And it's not a bear. Highly unlikely to be CGI. Around here we see a tree here, and we see something swinging from tree to tree. Just here, standing up.
That's not what I...
Just here. And we even, at this point, we even see the tree, this tree here, moving, swaying to the right. Now I'm guessing, I mean, if this is a footpath, we're looking at, say the human would be maybe this size, so say 6 foot, let's say 5 foot, you know, approximately. So we're looking at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, let's say 25 foot tall tree. And that is, you can just at the top here, you can see the tree is swaying. If you look at the top, not much, but it is swaying there. As this creature is jumping, moving up the tree, and jumping from tree to tree. And we have a longer stabilization here of the same scene. Okay, so again we see the part where the tree moves, sways to the right. Actually, a couple of times it happens. Here's one instance. There, just here you see the tree moving from side to side. So this creature moves to the right, which means it would have to pull, the force would go to the left of the tree, in which this tree is doing. The tree is moving to the left because it's pulling to the left, because it needs to move to the right. So here you see the tree moving to the left as it's moving to the right, grabbing onto the tree and going up. And here I believe it's jumping from this tree to the next. Here's a black and white. This is the most intriguing moment here. This part. Yeah, guys. Any kind of footage which I see like this, of course, it's not really compelling. For me, it is compelling because it's we can rule out bear, we can rule out any birds or creatures in the foreground, we can rule out squirrel clearly, we can rule out. It's possible it could be a monkey if there are any escaped animals in the area. But the lady has had encounters. Here is the the basic situation here. It was sent to me by somebody, by a friend, by a viewer. This is his message. So he received this from a friend, and this friend is experiencing these encounters continually. She told me this has been happening since last July. Said she sees them all the time. Had a large rock thrown at her last July. She saw what threw it, over 8 foot tall. Long story, Tony, but we might be onto something here. We are thinking what you are seeing is 1 or 2 juveniles. They do seem to be acting in a juvenile way. Kind of carelessly, irresponsibly out in the open, swinging from tree to tree, as kids would do. Okay, guys. Yes, it's blurry, and but still, what footage isn't these days? But this is footage. We're not looking at a blob, a static blob, and we're not claiming that this is anything. I am personally claiming that it could possibly be a Bigfoot type creature, but it's definitely not pareidolia. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.